Hi, Diana.
Hi, Nikki. Hello, everyone. So, this is Nikki Jobin, my wonderful co host and co owner of Golden Apple Metaphysical. I am Diana Rachel, author of Urban Magic, A Guide for the City Witch, and the upcoming Hex Twisting Counter Magic Spells for the Irritated Witch. And we are here today because it is Tuesday night and we have been left unsupervised.
Ha ha ha.
Well, sort of. Caveat, my partner is in the next room because their plans got canceled tonight.
Oh, well, that's not fun, but
No, no.
and Brad's still awake. The kids are in bed, so we're partially unsupervised.
Well, Brad just tends to take a nap for plausible deniability when we're around anyway.
There you go. He doesn't want to know what we're up to.
Nope. I noticed the pattern where I'd show up and he'd be like, "Hi, Diana, bye."
He knows we're going to get up to some kind of fuckery. It's okay.
Yeah. For I would say out of all of my friends' partners, he is the one who's taken me almost killing his spouse the best.
He kind of rolls with everything. He really
He
does.
really does. It's genuinely impressive.
Yeah,
So,
he's just like, oh, he didn't die.
yeah, Nikki kind of married Captain America.
I absolutely did. But if you want somebody blood-eagled, he can do that too.
It's good to have diverse skills.
It is. It's fun to watch. So how is just before we jump into everything, how's Michigan?
It is still way too close to Indiana for my tastes. But right now I'm still working through the Round of Vision Notes edits on my Counter Magic book, and I'm getting down to the ugly parts. And of course, it is due this week, and it may end up showing up on Monday, so I can lock myself in my office. I am also doing Monday nights between 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm doing a super short show for Elements in Kalamazoo. And so this is in exchange for reader space when I finally get my stuff together, which will be after the book is turned in. So for people tuning in from the Kalamazoo area, yeah, I know you're not sleeping either. And also, it's looking like probably towards the beginning of November, I will be the weekend reader available at Elements. In the meantime, I am still available through Golden Apple for all of my San Francisco friends, and through my own practice, which is associated with Golden Apple anyway. And my partner and I are opening up Sun and Earth metaphysical spiritual solutions for people who are having amorphous metaphysical issues. So, because this is the area that we have come to specialize in. And we do have an office that we were renting out of the pagan-owned Norse Nectar Brewery. And one of the, I'm not sure what his role is. He was an owner or vice president, but one of the people that hosts the well-known podcast Three Pagans and a Cat is one of the people involved in that brewery. So it's quite the convergence of all of the stuffs.
Three pagans and a cat. I like that, but I've never known three pagans to only have one cat.
They live together.
I stand by my statement.
Yeah, it's a family. Yeah, so Cinti's been doing the peanut gallery thing in here. So, Cinti, do you want to come on the show, honey?
No,
if you're
send to their room. This is our
time. Yes.
That's right. No peanut gallery.
Okay. All right. So, okay, peanut gallery, if you would like to participate, go into the bedroom, watch the show, and type in comments so we have some audience participation.
There we go. I kicked mine out of the house, so
I can feel getting glared at through the wall, and the dog can feel tripping me all day.
It's okay. He can glare. They can glare at me all they would like. Because I don't care. That's the wonderful thing about me. But I'm gonna bring us back around and go back to what you were talking about, elements, because that's part of what we're going to be talking about on the show tonight. We have a lot of newness coming through Golden Apple. Obviously, you have a lot of things going on. Some with us and some in. Oh, that was my ice machine. I was like, what the hell was that? And just a lot of newness. So we are going to talk about that tonight. So I want to dig a little deeper into elements because that is your Kalamazoo shop that you're working out of. But I've been seeing some really great little workshops coming out of there. The last one I saw was the singing bowls.
Yes, that looks cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one yesterday where what I was doing is I've been going in week to week, and instead of me driving the lecture or driving the piece I do, I've been saying, okay, what do you want me to talk about? And they came up with, well, let's talk about bells. And my bells are Eastern mysticism more so than Western, but I did happen to be in a bell choir when I was in high school. I was that kind of nerd. My church had a bell choir, and I was in it because it basically kept me from having to sit there and be nice during the sermon because it was boring. So I got to, hit metal objects and feel better. But I was kind of riffing because I have used bells, and most, I would say that 90% of the tools I use, if they are not for personal spell work, they usually end up being used in some sort of exorcism or house cleansing or something, because that it seems to be hands down what I do the most.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that they do have a sound healer who I've not had the pleasure of meeting yet. So what I'm encouraging them to do and that they're game for doing is I'm going to start getting on everyone who does readings for the shop, everyone who does workshops at the shop, and getting them to do a feature. So because what happened with Elements is right before I moved out here, I almost want to say ended up out here because there was so little situation. Which pet?
Sorry, my dog was on the counter.
Oh, was it Luna?
Yes.
Luna, be a good girl.
So I threw some Scotch tape at her.
If it gets stuck, you're gonna have a whole other set of problems.
Sorry about that. I was trying to be nonchalant, but then I realized this is the arm that was on camera.
Yeah. Yeah, but I didn't hear a loud crash, so we're probably fine.
The thing I like about the little workshops or the little shows that you're doing with elements is you almost always bring someone on. I've seen a lot of new practitioners just kind of pop on, and it's great because we get to have that feedback. Last week I had Lauren, or 2 weeks ago I had Lauren on the show, who does a lot of hoodoo kind of things, which is not my realm of experience at all. You have a lot more experience in that than I do, but this is something that she's been practicing for years. So it was really fascinating to hear her perspective and a little bit about her path.
Yeah, getting Lauren to let you pick her brain is nothing short of a miracle because there's so much in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait till it's late at Martini's and she's run out of energy and she just starts going. Right now. So I haven't had time to watch all of it. I watched bits and pieces, and that was a really great show from what I was able to see. But because it's Lauren, I'm kind of saving it for I want all of the time to just watch.
Oh yeah.
Just because it can be so hard to get her talking without her, doing the comedian thing that we all do.
Mm-hmm.
And when she really gets started, it's freaking fascinating.
Oh yeah, it was a great show. We had a lot of fun. I would love to have her on with us, or with either one of us.
Yeah.
Because I think that it would be really fun.
Well, the problem is if you have her on with me, I'm going to be quiet and just like scribbling in one of my notebooks the entire time. I was like, where did you get the and what angle do you cut the head off at?
Nice. Well, she herself did explain that she does not she has never actually done the sacrificing. She has been part of rituals where that has been a thing, but she herself hasn't done it. So I found that very interesting as well.
I find that genuinely interesting. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've ever come up to the level of commitment of actually sacrificing anything larger than an already dead wasp.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we have a tennis racket that basically kills insects on contact, I just kind of save the bees for things.
Yeah. Well, we want to save the bees. The wasps, I don't care so much about because
no, it's basically the bees I'm talking about are yellow jackets, and yellow jackets are assholes. They're basically minks without fur. I'm perfectly happy to save them for curses.
There we go. All right. So let's see what's going on here in San Francisco. I am working on a lot of different products for the shop. I just released onto the website today the Samhain incense.
Mm-hmm.
I have the spell kit out on the website as well. That's been out for a week or two. So we include in the spell kit, we have the box, we have a candle with a holder, we have the charcoal, herbs, oil, and we include a spell with that as well.
So that will be really cool.
Yeah,
And
we just don't do the circle for you.
I need to make sure I start sharing these because I know I've been extremely lax about, putting up my own newsletter for the people that follow for the spiritual practice and services that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should start featuring some of those in that.
Well, for those of you that do subscribe to the website, I do send out a newsletter every month.
Yeah. And you picked like the one photo of me I forgot that I took. That I freaking love that photo, and a ghost talked me into taking it.
Well, there you go. While you still have nice weather out there, you should get more graveyard photos.
I need to find the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, I have that whole pesky book that I need to finish, but find the time. And I may try to persuade my kids that we're going on a Weeping Angel hunt. But so for those that are not familiar with Doctor Who, there's an episode called Blink that is basically about angels that if you blink or close your eyes, they move so fast that they will grab you and move you into a different timeline, effectively killing you without killing you. And I happened to buy myself a Doctor Who mug that had a disappearing weeping angel when you heat up the mug with one of those decals. And they wanted to know what it was, so I showed them. And we were shopping for stuff at Menards, which is a hardware store chain in the Midwest. And they had a bunch of little weeping angel statues, including a baby that was doing this.
Oh my gosh.
And it was about $20, so we bought it and then just put it in the living room and waited. And the oldest came out, saw it, and screamed at his brother to say, "Keep an eye on that thing while I figure out how to get rid of it."
Nice.
I ended up having to wrap it in aluminum foil and tell them that it was quantum locked. But
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I instigated. It's on me.
Okay, you brought up the book, so I'm totally going to jump on that topic now. Your most recent book is Curses and Hexes, or Curses and Hex Twisting, correct?
It's hex twisting counter magic spells for the irritated witch. Partly because this publisher tends to historically be very anti-curse, which means that perhaps anything I write on curses I have done may have to come directly from Golden Apple at some point. But it is because, as Nikki knows, after I moved to San Francisco, I started having some interesting adventures with people that had opinions about me, many of whom I did not even fucking know. And a few, it started with a nasty coworker who just didn't want to share. And then I can talk about that now because the business is effectively closed.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of, I extracted myself from that situation after my friends basically had an intervention about my stubborn was not worth the constantly almost getting killed. And then the constantly almost getting killed continued because there was some other stuff going on that I had not realized.
The good news is neither one of us have died yet.
No. Well, for all intents and purposes, no.
If you're still walking around, you're technically not dead.
No, but I might be undead.
Oh, good. Oh, good. As long as you don't start flaking off. Like if parts of you start falling off, that's going to gross me out.
You've seen how much I spend on moisturizer. That's not going to be a problem for a long damn time.
Well, that first major incident, I guess I'll use, at that shop is actually pretty memorable for me as well, because that's when stuff started coming online for me.
Yeah. Well, and looking back through that phase of my life, it's kind of like, it's like the plot of a horror novel or like a mystery novel. So I think it was in the 90s, writer, I can't remember her name, but she wrote the Bell Book and Candle Mysteries.
Okay, I don't remember the writer either, but I know what you're talking about.
but the characters were Wiccan, and it was kind of making fun of pagan culture in New York City and that surrounding area. And a lot of what I went through, especially since it was not just the bad ex-boyfriend, the bad metamors, all of this stuff, it does feel kind of like I went through the fucked up plot of a murder mystery novel. It really does. Like, I'm still kind of fathoming the what the fuck of it all.
Yeah, I'm really trying to think of what genre we'd put you in. Like sci-fi, fantasy,
I think horror.
anti-romance.
Urban fantasy horror. I mean, my ex-wife used to bitch that she was basically married to Harry Dresden, and she is not wrong.
She's not wrong. Which makes the new services that have come out so hysterical. Because it fits. It fits.
Yeah.
If you have a weird ass problem that you can't take to anybody else, just call us.
We'll figure it out. And if we can figure it out, I heard my partner go, "You're fucks."
Well, if we can't figure it out, generally we know someone that can.
Yeah. Okay. If you're going to peanut gallery, get in the bedroom. So.
Are they still there?
They are. They're saying no. Cindy, please come here. Oh, there will be a dealing with later.
Yeah, because being the peanut gallery in the room kind of defeats the purpose of what we're trying to do here, and it's borderline rude.
Yeah, so I suggest that if you're going to comment, you put down the game. All right, going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, someone may wake up to a completely rearranged refrigerator and have a hard time finding their snack hot dogs tomorrow.
So yeah, I think that first dealing really that set off a chain of events for us.
It was, and I'm not, there's still pieces of it where I'm not even sure, because I mentioned several bits and pieces without giving the whole context or story in the Counter Magic book. And I mean, you read it. You've read one of the earlier copies. And while I'm doing the edits, God bless my editor, because she had to put up with all of my crap with Urban Magic being delayed by almost 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because this stuff was going on while I was trying to write that book, because there was stuff out there that didn't want me writing that book.
Yeah.
There's some people that still, and I'm having a hard time getting people to notice it now for a lot of different reasons, some of which are just people sucking, and some are which a larger thing, I've been fighting my way through a larger thing that I don't fully understand myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say this here because I have said it in public before. Urban Magic is a book a lot of people need right now. It is a book that is about rewriting power structures without having to engage in the established power structures. So you don't have to be focused on the national election. You can focus on what's happening to you. And you can make a powerful difference. So I don't know if I shared this with I only found out about it from watching Last Week Tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually think this is a perfect example of raising the awareness in a way that rewrites the power structure. There's a group of strippers, I don't know where they're from, that are running a campaign called Get Your Booty to the Poll. That is,
I saw that you posted that.
Yeah, it's aimed at Black voters, and they talk about, hey, it's not just the national election. Do you know what the Attorney General can do to your lives? Do you know what these local offices can actually do to your lives? And yes, they're sticking I voted stickers on their very attractive asses to get people to notice that. But you know what? It's working.
Yeah.
It's raising awareness. And yeah, people are going to watch it over and over again. So there might actually be some positive reprogramming for a few people.
Gosh, we can hope. I heard some very interesting things. I don't like to pull politics into the show, but I haven't researched it. But I read that a lot of these kind of Nazi groups, Proud Boy groups, are trying to deter their younger members or their male members in general from masturbating. And no wonder they're so angry.
Have you seen Dr. Strangelove? Dr. Strangelove shows you what happens when you pull this shit.
I'm telling you, just, start the fire.
Yeah, honestly, if you want a straight man to break up with you, you tell him that you hated Shawshank Redemption and Dr. Strangelove, and done. No work, no effort needed after that.
I don't actually know how accurate that is.
In my experience, when I felt particularly lazy about doing the emotional labor.
I'm like,
Well, for younger guys, you have to tell them you hate anime.
oh, everyone knows that I hate anime.
Yeah, well, I think you've only experimented with younger ones, so.
Well, not too young. I don't think I did under 40.
I'm sticking with the half my age plus 7, because that seems to be keeping me out of trouble. Also, it's going to be taking a lot more work for me to figure out what my age is divided by 2, so I figure if it takes that much work, I should just skip it.
You're my age? Almost? No, you are my age.
Yeah.
22 and a half, so 29. Woo, that's elementary school for me. Oh. They have to be at least a decade older than my daughter.
That has been the baseline required of me now, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, the acculturation process is just too much work. Anyway, we're talking about the stuff. Okay, so why don't we talk a little bit about that first situation where I had a coworker who just she was doing things to deliberately drive off other readers and do things to block us from getting clients, both really visually actively and using magic. And, she was also doing things towards the end, like throwing demons at me. And I think there was some ancestor abuse.
But I don't think when we all went there to do that work,
yeah,
I don't know at that time if we knew that there were demons there at that time. We definitely knew after that session, but after that work, we definitely knew.
Yeah,
but
well, the work that we got guided to do, I realized now, was by a source that was sabotaging me for other reasons. Because the person that told me to do it was someone I was dating who was actually very much trying to harm me without me knowing it.
Yeah, but I don't think that they knew that.
I don't think they had that information either, and I do not think that the demons got involved until later.
Yeah, but I remember that particular working that we did.
Yeah,
was when I found a lot of stuff there, and that was work that I'd never done before.
Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about your experience with that?
Sure. For the most part, I think that everyone that came with you to that working, we were just kind of holding a circle, and I think that we were chanting and trying to help you build up the energy for the spell.
Right.
But at some point during that, I felt driven to kind of wander around.
Right.
Excuse me. And at that point, let me just say very clearly that, we had no access to the sales floor or to any of the inventory.
Yeah, we didn't touch anything there. We couldn't. It was.
Yeah, we had everything in locked. So we only had access to your reading room, and I think the hallway and the bathroom.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, because the other reader rooms were locked off too.
Yeah, which was totally fine for the rest of us. But I felt myself being compelled to go through and just kind of investigate the spaces and kind of following weird energy that I got. And I think I came back to you and I'm like, there's some really weird shit going on here. And I think we went together, and I think that's when we first started learning that I could deal with those type of negative energies without any ill effects.
At a low grade.
Yeah, well, at that point.
At that point, you were basically just taking it, eating it, and being fine, which kids do not do that at home. That is a Nikki thing and not an everybody thing.
Yeah, I think it was a year before I
Yeah, because the one experience I remember is because I had recurring issues with entity attachments on a certain spot in the body. And there'd been one there that had been there a long time and it was starting to get active again and bother me. And, I was having problems with sleeping and, hypnagogic twitches. And the first time I'd had that problem, I'd had to go see a shaman about an entity attachment.
Mm-hmm.
Things you want to hear in bed, not from your shaman. Oh my God, it's huge. Actual things that happen in my life.
Yeah. But yeah, I know that I took care of quite a few of those pretty easily.
You did. Yeah, and I just remember the first time we did it because neither one of us was really sure how this was going to work. And the reason I remember it so well is one is it was working, and I'd never had someone not have to use like a huge ton of ritual and raise energy. And your dog Luna came over to help.
Oh, that was in my place. That's right.
We were at your place, and Luna came and leaped up and put her paws on the shoulder, and I could feel her energy starting to help you push
Mm-hmm.
and help you get it out.
Yeah, which is weird because when we're just hanging at the house, she usually just lays on her bed.
Yeah.
But anytime that we do workings, she's right there and she wants to help.
Yeah.
Um,
Or she will start doing guarding behaviors.
yeah.
My dog Nora hates it when I work magic because mommy isn't mommy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll take her an hour or two to come back because from my dog Nora's perception, I disappear.
Yeah.
Luna's like, nope, this is what I'm here for. I'm in.
Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because we went through so many things trying to figure out what I was. I remember at a time we were like, okay, I'm like a metaphysical battery. And that ended up that ritual that we did where you and I both kind of got a little injured.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, we had a good team there that helped us out, and there were a lot of good support. James, Caitlin, Alex, Tom was there. Even he shall not be named was there.
I did. Mark, moving on.
But we had such a really good system there. Who else was there? Oh my gosh, he used to come to the Jeff, that's right. Jeff was there too.
The one that my ex-roommate refers to as the Gandalf guy.
Yes.
He does have a magnificent Gandalfian beard.
And that's exactly how I was going to describe him, was the beard.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a lot of different energy working there, and it was very interesting talking to people afterwards and getting their perspective of the things they saw in the astral and how it really everything came together and coordinated to what you and I were seeing as well.
Yeah. Well, not only did it align, but like you and I were looking into a situation. So that was when we were looking for specific people that were pushing.
Mm-hmm.
You and I were both seeing a family structure.
Yeah.
And so that was the upsetting thing, is people were using their kids, which was horrifying.
I remember that more now. I just seem to remember metaphysical swords in my side, or spears. Yeah, that was not fun.
Yeah, I don't even remember what all my weapons got put into me. I've been such a human pincushion for so long, I sort of stopped identifying them.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the first really big one. And then, but no ill effects after that. I got some self-care with James afterwards, and I felt a lot better.
Yeah.
After a hot bath and some sleep, I felt a lot better.
Yeah.
And then I think the time when I really took on too much was we were at Pantheacon.
Was that the time that you were at that ritual where you got too cold because you opened up a little bit too much to the...
When I went to their first PDF ritual, because I think what had we done that weekend? We'd gone to was it an OTO ritual? Was the first one? We'd gone to 4.
That was a different year.
No, not 4. Or there was some ritual that we went to, but it was basically the black mass that we went to.
Yeah, that was in 2018. Because remember, I remember because I was still like having sleeping problems so severely that I would nod off, and so I started leveraging the curse activity to stay awake when I wanted to. Because like I'd start nodding off during that mass, and so whatever it was that was attacking me this time would jerk me awake. Which
I think you and I both were nodding off during that mass.
It was very Catholic. I always get bored by church. It doesn't matter the religion. Church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, while I'm fascinated by that path, it's just not mine. And anything I would learn about that would be strictly for research.
Yeah.
But I remember doing that. We had helped, I think, different people along the way. We had some different experiences. I, went through the Koru temple, which it was still at that point a lot of energy for me to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember spending some time in there. Basically, for me, it was talking to colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
But there was some stuff for you, because sometimes, this is something that's been a thing for me since my 20s, is I have had friends joke about me being basically the God's phone booth. Is, okay, somebody wants to talk to you. I'm not sending you a message because they say you're a stubborn ass and you won't take it from me. So go talk to them.
My joke about you is that anyone that hangs out with you on a regular basis should expect for things to come online that they didn't know that they had to deal with.
That happened. My best friend, before he passed away, commented about that too, is that he would notice, like, he would be less psychic away from me, but when he was like close to me, even in the same town, things would be fine. And I just have that effect on people, I guess. I'm like radiation in an even more horrifying way. But
maybe you're the battery.
Maybe? I don't think so, because I think I wouldn't be so tired all the time if I were. But I don't know. What do batteries eat? I mean,
no, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
stick your finger in a light socket and see what happens.
I put my hands in an electric fence once. I heard a cow thinking, dumbass. But
I was going to ask you if you were trying to mess with cattle at the time, but I was trying to think better.
There were cows watching me chewing, shaking their heads.
Yeah, they were like, nice going, dumbass. Yeah, that would totally happen to me.
Yeah. That same cow eventually committed suicide in my uncle's swimming pool. So, yeah, that whole thing, I don't even know. I don't know why you would have a swimming pool that close to your cow field, but it's going to get in it.
Or at least a fence in between, I guess. But just these are all the experiences that kind of taught us the things that you talk about in your book, because we really had to think outside the box for a lot of solutions.
We did. There's part of it is, I did the initiatory thing, and the traditions I was initiated in had a party line of the things that were happening to me just don't happen.
Mm-hmm.
If you're cursed, rethink your life choices, which is a valid approach. And honestly, most of the time, if you're getting cursed, you need to rethink your life choices. But when it went off the rails with the level of magical attack that it did and the persistence of it just there is no frame of reference. And this is something that ultimately drove me out of mainstream paganism. Is right after my father died, I started dealing with a really aggressive haunting. Well, I realized now it was two things happening. Is one is the animistic spirits of emotions were having a field day with me because they were repressed like a motherfucker. But my sister and mother were attacking me. And, I wasn't doing what they wanted me to do. They wanted to break me down to the point where I would be malleable. And it turned into, and at the time, it wouldn't even occur to me to look at my family. They're my family. They love me. They wouldn't do this, except they did.
Mm-hmm.
And this problem was going off and on over the years, and I found a way to keep it out. And then all of a sudden, all my methods for making sure I could sleep at night just stopped. But during that phase, I remember going, because this is where I knew to go, is to go on the Wiccan Live Journal group. And I remember one person who I was talking about this problem I'm having. I had this long list of things I'd done to try to resolve the problems or make it stop. And they basically said something to the effect of, they called me a liar, and which was hurtful, but I can understand, because there's a lot of people that would make shit up in those groups. It's a running problem even now. But then it was if you don't tell me what your initiatory tradition is, nothing you can do is valid. And how can you say you were initiated if you have these problems?
See, and like, I get it, but I don't. You know, like I don't understand why they didn't even try to investigate that. But on the other hand, like our threshold for weird shit-o-meter is so beyond
Yeah.
that. I mean, you know, like my partner who's with the ADF has been there for years and has a lot of knowledge, but this is outside of their realm too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I always send questions hoping, you know, hey, you have a connection with this group that's been around for so many years and these people have so much knowledge and it's not even anything that they see.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it would drive me crazy because I would get the question like of have you smudged? You know, I've so much that,
I'm
you know,
sorry, I don't know if I will translate it to camera very well.
yeah, you know, some of this is so beyond smudging, like, and you know, I will say that when I did start going, what helped me finally was getting into hoodoo groups.
Mhm.
That was getting me to start. I do practice some hoodoo. It's not necessarily. I know there's people that have strong feelings about people working outside their ancestry, but it's not. It just looks like it's not with me.
Mhm.
And on top of that, it was. I didn't really so much co-opt hoodoo spells as I co-opted the logic.
Mhm.
And the logic really tracks well. So I might not be using somebody else's granny's recipe. It's something I came up with, but it's based on the same chain of logic and it works.
Mhm.
And so I was using that and then digging into practices from ancient Rome and ancient Greece that you don't see in like Wicca books.
Yeah.
And then I was starting to talk directly to spirits that you know, might not normally talk to somebody that looks like me. And some of them going, okay, we see what's happening. This isn't right. We're going to download some, let's take that logic you've learned and I'm going to download some stuff to you now that you've got the structure in your head.
Yeah.
You know, because I generally approach where I have a great deal of respect and understanding for traditions and forms, but to me, the traditions themselves are the leaves hanging off the tree and I'm looking at the skeleton of the tree.
Mhm.
And with that's how my mind works is once I understand the structure, I'm going to go and grow my own leaves.
Yeah. And just to put out you know, just something for people that are watching. If you are part of a tradition, or if you know, are Wiccan, like, and that works for you, that's wonderful. But just you have to realize that sometimes the tried and true methods don't work for other people. And for those of us that are weird shit over there has that threshold,
Yeah,
you have to think outside the circle a lot.
you do. Sometimes you have to break the dogma to solve the problem.
Mhm.
You really do. And it doesn't help when you have a religion that part of its dogma is that it has no dogma, and that should be something that you should be very suspicious of no matter who's saying it.
Yeah.
Because it will put you in danger in some situations if you cling to that too tight.
Mhm.
And on top of it, you know, it's a religious tradition. It may not be, you know, it's a religious tradition that says we don't believe in X, which means they're not going to give you the skills when X turns out to have an opinion about it existing anyway,
Mhm.
such as with demons.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've become, and again, like there's a lot of beliefs I had going in that have been just snapped and broken. It's just not how I function anymore,
Mhm.
which is I was a very religious person. In some ways I still am, but religion to me is more about a social structure than it is about any kind of spiritual anything anymore. Because the spiritual stuff is like right in my face every day, like 24/7 when I go to sleep at night, when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah. And see, I don't consider myself religious at all.
Yeah.
You know, I consider myself spiritual, but not religious in any way, shape, or form. And then, you know, as you know, I've been doing this for 30 years, and most of that time has been as a solitary. But I really felt like a crappy solitary and a crappy witch because rituals just weren't my thing. I always used to joke around like I'm such a bad witch. Like I don't cast circles, I don't call the corners, I don't do all of these things that are the prescribed notions that you see that are quote unquote mainstream. And you know, that kind of ritual never worked for me. Kind of, you know, that process of just being like, oh, you're a deity and I'm just a worm. Yeah, that doesn't work for me either. I'm like, hey, Aphrodite, can we talk? And if she wanted to talk, we talk. If she didn't, I was like, okay, well, maybe later. And that's really how I approach so much of this. I'm not rude, I'm not disrespectful, but I'm also not gonna, what's the word, genuflect?
I know genuflect is that thing where you like kneel and.
Yeah, I don't do that shit.
I wasn't raised Catholic, so sometimes I have to catch up with the terms a little bit.
Yeah, I was raised Catholic too. Well, we all know that story. That didn't.
No,
Um,
that was a pretty funny story, though.
But I do see other people in their traditions and in their religion where it's really beautiful to me. Like I can go to a Catholic wedding and hear the mass, and besides all the Catholic calisthenics, stand up, sit down, kneel, and pray. I really do think that the masses are very beautiful, and seeing the faith of the people there is really beautiful to me. It's just not my niche.
See, and I grew up with the church, and it was a place of comfort and refuge for me.
Mhm.
And I grew up having a relationship with Jesus, which I still have.
Mhm.
But my relationship with Jesus was definitely outside the box. And when I was at a Christian college looking at becoming a pastor or going further down the witchcraft path, I did a circle and invoked Jesus and had a talk. And he showed up, much to my astonishment. And the talk was basically, this whole Christianity thing is so not what I meant. You're so much meant to be a witch. Just go. My life has kind of snowballed since then.
Yeah, it definitely has not been dull.
No. I miss getting sleep at night. I've been getting more. I can tell because I'm writing complete sentences again, which is good
There you go.
for a living.
I only really started to worry when you weren't speaking complete sentences.
I still leave out entire paragraphs. Like I meant to mention something about shamanism earlier, but
Yeah, well, I speak fluent Diana, so
that
it
helps.
works. It
That
works.
helps.
Let's shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about this amorphous problem solving.
Amorphous metaphysical problem solving is one of the services that we are now offering through Golden Apple. Yes, because I have gone full fucking Harry Dresden for those that appreciate those novels.
Overgo.
I had one. I used to have a black London fog trench coat that looked like a duster. Somebody stole my fedora though, and I really want it back.
Yeah.
But we do, because again, like I even have clients in Kalamazoo already that are finding me that they're having weird stuff. They're having entity attachments. I teach empath training because I've found so many undiagnosed empaths.
Mm-hmm.
I've had situations where a lot of things, a problem can be both a psychiatric or mental health issue and a metaphysical problem.
Mm-hmm.
I am only qualified to help resolve the metaphysical side of these issues, and that may remain the case forever. I don't know, because I'm still struggling to figure out what all I can finish for my education and how I want to finish it, if I ever do, or if I just want to keep learning the way I've been learning, which is basically tuck, roll, and hope nobody ever actually hits you, which doesn't seem like a really good way to keep going. But one of the things I had in recent years was there was somebody who had a trauma as a child, and a piece of her own spirit broke off.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically running around, and it was this child piece that would try to reintegrate whenever she was drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to have her get out and bring up the child. And because I'm an empath, I can feel things. So I felt up so many spirits before I knew you need to ask first. I owe so many apologies to this day. But, I could feel this energy form that was this little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of it, that little kid was a little boy when this was a woman.
Okay.
So having her work around that piece of herself was a different gender from how she perceived herself to be.
Mm-hmm.
Top of reintegrating this piece of her that had run off to protect her.
Mhm.
You know, it's not like soul retrieval. I don't really think we have a term for that, or if we do, it isn't a tradition that I would love to hear from. It was just okay, you need to start treating this like a familiar spirit that's been injured.
Okay.
You need to give it a place. You need to give it nourishment. It's, you need to see if you work with your ancestors, if you had some ancestors that are healed and whole enough to work with this piece of you.
Mhm.
And these things will come up where there is, it's I think I'm crazy. I'm like, you're probably right, but let's do something about that anyway.
Mhm. So do you find in situations like these that you use a lot of similar techniques that a psychiatrist would use for DID patients and alters?
I don't think I do, and
Mhm.
I'm absolutely not qualified to do any of the things that a psychiatrist might do. I really want to emphasize that.
Mhm.
I think I approach it more like any shaman or witch would, or I think I approach it more like a medium would.
Okay.
In that it's okay, this is a piece of you, I'm going to talk to it like it's a spirit.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to listen to what it needs, or, I work with the goddess White Tara a lot. She's a goddess of limitless compassion. She seems to know everything there is possible to know about healing the spirit,
Mhm.
and just see what she shows me as to what to do.
Mhm.
And, sometimes it's a quit drinking. Sometimes it's you do need to drink, but it needs to be this specific medicine and only that.
Mhm.
Or say take this tea or go for a walk on the ocean. And, sometimes it's really complex projects like creating a clay version of yourself and then, creating a smaller clay version of the child self and pressing it into the clay so that you're reunified.
Okay.
It can be, and it's different with every person.
Mhm. Yeah, I've never dealt with anything like specifically like that. I have done a cleanse before on a house and on a person where they did have the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did in that instance was not only did I talk to my client, but I also spoke specifically to her altar.
Yeah.
And we, had a conversation and we did a cleanse there, and knowing that it was very important for the altar that they stayed safe and their environment was safe, but I had to get that information from them, not just from my client.
And I know that DID is the best known one, and I have a therapist, and I've asked about this because of things I've encountered. There's an opinion that DID is the extreme. There are other forms of human multiplicity where we may have different pieces of ourselves that behave as separate spirits.
Mhm.
That may actually share our identity and just come through at different times. We may call them masks, but they aren't. They are authentic pieces, but they are fragments.
Mhm.
I know I did have a situation because I do empath training where I teach empaths to deal with their sensitivities. In another episode, we'll be talking about why I think empath is a thing and why a lot of people say they're empaths and are wrong. But
I was wrong. I was totally wrong. I didn't understand
yeah,
how my magic worked.
yeah.
And
And
I
she,
just thought that the reason people felt really good about me was I thought I was empathic and I could feel what they were feeling, and that's why I could help
right.
them feel. And it wasn't until we started doing this work that I realized that it was a totally different way.
Yeah, and you are highly empathetic, which is fantastic. But fortunately, you are not a human lint roller like I am.
Yeah.
So, well, and I think after we figured that out, I think it's kind of helped you understand why I hate crowds and why social distancing is my paradise.
Hmm.
It's,
Yeah.
although even I'm kind of going, I need a hug lately because even I'm starting to feel it.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
and I know that you've started to develop protocols in your classes to teach people to understand where their spiritual bodies are in correlation with their physical body and how to protect themselves in each instance.
and to create different filters, and for empaths to learn to use our stickiness on purpose or to stop it.
Mhm.
I'm in the process with my partner who does shadow work because, of course, empaths were so good at feeling everybody else's feelings, we really avoid feeling our own. And a lot of us are developed through codependent and abusive relationships at different traumas. So, of course, we want to get out and feel what's coming at us before we actually feel what's going on with us because we prioritize that as a survival thing.
Mhm.
and learning how to, one, get the other people's emotions and hooks off of you, but then we have all of that stuff we swallowed. And I know in an extreme case where we can actually be haunted by the animistic spirits of the connected emotions because they have to be felt in order to process them in the world. And my partner specializes in teaching people to work with those emotions and those shadows. It's a different kind of shadow work than the sometimes you're an asshole, let's learn that. which is the shadow work 101 is sometimes I'm an asshole. Here's why sometimes I'm an asshole. And 103 is here's how being an asshole can serve me.
And I'm just like, sometimes I'm nice.
Yeah. I assume you're going to go, yep, I'm an asshole. Let's go. But this
I'm
is
totally an asshole. I'm okay with that.
I'm an angel, so I'm an asshole, but I'm self-righteous about it. So it takes me a while to admit that I'm being an asshole.
When I'm sitting there going, you're an asshole. And demon, we just don't care.
Yeah. And sometimes that really makes you an asshole.
I was watching, so I'm into this new show on Netflix, and I don't know if you've seen it. It's called Evil.
We started watching it. We watched the first episode, and I do want to catch up on the more.
Oh my God, it's amazing. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but I really like it. Brad and I are watching it together, and I have some really oh fuck moments watching this, but there are some things that happen that I just laugh, and I'm just cracking up, and then I look at Brad and go, this really makes me kind of horrible that I'm laughing about this, doesn't it? But I do.
See, and I've only watched the first episode where she was having the night demon.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching that going, all right, what would I do in that situation? Because one, I'd probably either try to trap it or start a conversation. The one and only time I ever had an alien kidnapping dream, I woke up when somehow I got loose, got the probe, and yelled, "It's my turn."
Mm-hmm.
And I've never been snapped out of a dream so fast in my life.
Well, what I really like about this show is they do the two sides, actually three sides of it. You have the priest in training who definitely is a believer and is looking for all the supernatural ongoing.
Right.
She is a psychologist, so she's looking, I'm not sure if it said psychologist or psychologist, but she is looking for, what mental issues. And like you said, it could be both. But there's a really fine line between being a medium or being clairaudient and having fun.
Yeah, there is.
And you really need to get checked and make sure. And it's, we do highly stress when we're working with clients, have you seen a mental health professional?
Yeah. And I know one of the tricky parts is that sometimes they're coming to me because they can't afford a mental health professional.
Mm-hmm.
And there's such a dearth of that availability in the country, especially now that I'm living closer to rural areas, it's even harder to find.
Yeah.
And I know when I moved to San Francisco my first year, it took me almost 6 months to find someone. And I had to go completely outside of my insurance plan because every single psychiatrist in the area was booked solid. It was just that hard to find someone. And on top of it, I needed to find someone who was witch friendly, who did not see magical thinking as a disease, who was trans friendly and poly aware.
Yeah.
And, even in the Bay Area where polyamory is normalized, that was still hard to find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You were the one that actually taught me the value of having someone that understood the witchcraft a little bit more and the metaphysical things that we deal with a little bit more, because that's been my issues, that some of the things that we go through, I want to be able to be completely candid with my therapist. But how can I do that when I'm waking up thinking, oh, this is the day the guys with the little butterfly nets are going to come and get me,
And my therapist, she's a fucking trooper.
Yeah.
But I know she wouldn't admit it, but I kind of suspect that she hired some people to do some extra warding when my stuff started getting hairy, because, it would follow me in. There are some really strange stuff that I've had to do in our sessions that I know she hasn't had to do with her other clients.
Oh, yeah.
So, and fortunately she rolls with it because, from her perspective is, yeah, it could be all in your head, but you're letting me see what's in your head.
Mm-hmm. And really, we are two people out of, I'm sure that there are more than just us out there. I mean, where we have others that reside within us that are not fragmented parts of ourselves.
Yeah, possibly.
Well, okay. With you, I can't say 100% for sure. With myself, I'm fairly certain.
I've talked to them.
Yeah. But if I don't have a mental health professional that understands this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
then it's a very different diagnosis for me.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Well, and I can't even imagine them coming out during a session unless you really trust someone.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even imagine that. And I mean, even for me, they didn't come out until they really felt that I needed the help.
Yeah. And we do have a hypnosis session,
Mm-hmm. So
which
I
was
do.
really odd for me.
That was well, and I made sure that you had as many controls as possible when I did it. So I'm a hobby hypnotist. Again, it's like on the list of things I need to get my certification in.
Mhm.
But I do hypnosis, trance work, and guidance with a really strict and rigorous consent protocol.
Mhm.
So, since Nikki does not like losing control,
I sure do not.
and I had to construct something where she absolutely did not during the entire experience, but it's a way to get at some information that we needed that she had in her that she wasn't able to access by just thinking about it.
Yeah, I was definitely not in the driver's seat, but I
Mhm.
was aware of what was going on, which was extremely surreal. It was like I was there and I was watching and I was hearing,
Yeah.
but I wasn't who was talking to you.
No.
Not in any way, shape, or form, which was really weird. Like I felt my body moving, I felt my lips moving, but it wasn't even my voice coming out.
No. It really wasn't. I didn't record the session and I should have, but
I recorded the session.
oh, you did? So you have it. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
And just seeing that, I kind of wonder what would have happened if I'd have given you more control and really let loose. It would have been interesting to find out.
Maybe. I know that we have talked about going back down there and getting more information, but
Mhm.
there's never been a good time.
Yeah, and I'm good. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a couple people online that are watching us. So if anyone has any questions, like totally feel free to ask us. We're open books. We're just tonight kind of sharing some of the experiences that got us to the places that we are now, and the services that we offer through our shop, the things that you write about in your books, because they're definitely cutting edge, and the urban magic book is something that we really haven't seen before in our community literature.
So yeah, any questions or any metaphysical stuff that you're experiencing, this is a great time to ask us. And if we don't know, we can probably go try to find out and come back later and let you know.
We can add it into the comments, totally.
Yeah, or Nikki and I think, have you listed any services yet? I know that you've been focused more on product development, but
I have myself in some of the services, like
okay.
the cleansing services through the shop, but I don't actually have anything that's myself specific.
Okay. And do we want to talk about like specifically what we came up with for what you are or like what we call you anyway?
We can.
So one of the things that I kind of figured out was intuiting because after Nikki basically just ate some entity attachments out of me, not in a sexy way, sorry folks, and given some things I've done to your digestion with some of the stuff that's gotten in.
Yeah, there's nothing sexy about that, let me tell you.
No, no, I went through a lot of incense in my bathroom one year. Um, but we okay.
We did not spit. That's the important part. All right.
I was really impressed. But we figured out that Nikki is a sin eater. And I have since in some of my conjure groups and in a couple of shamanism networks that I know of. I guess Sin Eaters, there are some other Sin Eaters out there, but there's not like a Sin Eaters United Union or anything. And so when I went hunting for stuff, I heard about it from a friend of mine who was trying to write a short story about it years ago, which is what got me on the back. And then I found something obscure in a book in a bookshop on Judah Avenue. I think that bookshop is gone now, but that was like had like one line about sin eaters in Wales.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, I was at a shop in San Jose and I found a book that Llewellyn published was Confessions of the Last Sin Eater.
Which you did get for me, and I did read, and a lot of things tracked in there for me. But I still feel like sin eater is a really imprecise term.
I feel like it is, and I feel like there's an American conjure tradition about it that I just don't know anything about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if there'd be more information, but I also think it's because there's a little bit more to you than just the sin eating side.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you know, both of us have mixed heritage, and the RNA remix shows up in strange ways magically.
I think as we expand our circle of people that we're talking to more and the different things that we're exploring, and as we're moving more onto that side of the country and further out east, we are connecting with more people that have a little bit of insight into this. So it's like little pieces of a puzzle that we're.
I kind of feel like ending up in Kalamazoo, I was talking to the owner of Elements about the, you know, she and other people in the shop get the really strong feeling that, you know, I needed to be moved out of California for a while because I needed to recover from the weird, but put in exactly the right place because there's stuff I need out here, and California is not over. It's just I need this time.
Yeah, I have the, you know, I'm holding down the fort here in California.
Yeah.
And so you always have a place to come back to.
And I mean, I'll try to make sure it's not in fire every time I leave.
I would appreciate that.
Working on it.
I'm kind of getting tired of the fires out here for sure. So now I just kind of quote myself as an energy worker, more of a dark energy worker, because it feels a little bit better, even though that's as well not precise.
Yeah, you know, there's no hard and fast.
Yeah.
You know, and I know you work more with the darker energies or perceived darker energies.
Yeah. They're just more fun.
And I'm not strictly a light worker, but I tend to work on the lighter side. But I'm reluctant to use terms like good and evil because, like, I work with angels and I've done some pretty nasty stuff with them when called to. You know, it's
two that I work well with.
It's a highly neutral universe. Well, you just like to flirt with some of them, but
that's not my fault. They flirt with me first.
I could say the same thing about the demons.
Fair.
Yeah. I think they just like they just like the forbidden on either side.
Yeah, it's definitely been, you know, like I always used to joke around, and it's the line that I use is really, it's a line from Supernatural where they talk about angels and dicks, but it's not wrong. It's not at all, you know. I mean, I think that being an asshole is not exclusive to one side or the other. We have found perceived darker energies that have been very helpful to us, and even very critical to the success of some of the things that we've done.
I'm not afraid to say some demons have gone out of their way to save my life.
Yeah. And some of the, you know, attributed light beings have made it harder, and they follow the rules. And sometimes the stuff that we do, you can't follow the rules.
And sometimes the rules are just toxic.
Yeah, the rules are outdated. It's not, you know, as on earth, so it is in heaven, you know? Isn't that the old, isn't that a saying?
Yeah, well, as on earth, so it is in heaven, or as above, so below.
Yeah.
And of course, and then you get the citizens of hell going, yep.
Yeah, it's,
Not as slow.
Yeah, I'm not joking when I say we have to think outside the circle quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, at this point, there is no circle. There is no box. There may be something on fire because I tripped again.
There is only Zool.
And a whole lot of marshmallows.
And maybe some whiskey.
Which goes back to me talking about city spirits as though they are the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But
You just have to wonder at the end of that movie when he blew up, did they try to eat any of that marshmallow fluff? It was toasted marshmallow.
see, somebody had to have, and there had to be some really bad side effects.
I don't know, because I'd be looking for a graham cracker and some chocolate.
Yeah, but you can also eat things that people should not eat.
To be fair, some of those things I should not eat, and I do it anyway. It's like eating that jalapeno or that hot pepper, and you're like, oh, it burns, but it's so good.
Oh, or like the time I put too much mustard in your steak tartare.
Yeah, trying to kill me. And yes, and I kept eating it. And it was dying. I was dying as I was eating
And yet
it.
you kept doing that, yes. And yet I am the one with the reputation for being kinky. It is so fucked up because you're the one who does the self-abuse.
Great. It is great. Or like we go get barbecue from this one place that we really like, and they always have like a spicy jalapeno and douille sausage. And I know it's going down, and I know the next day I'm gonna regret it. I still eat it.
That's me and Long John Silver's. I pretty much know as soon as it goes in my mouth, I'm going to be filled with regret, and yet at least once a month.
Mm-hmm. But those are what make the best memoirs.
Yeah, well, we figured out what was your title. Like your title was going to be. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
And my title is going to be, well, that was flammable.
Yeah, those will be the memoirs. It'll be great.
Yeah, so we should start working on those for our shop.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna make little signs with those on there.
Dumb shit I made in the course of my magical path.
Yeah. Or that one broke the weird shitometer.
How many chapters would have that repeated?
There
was the time that you were with me and like this group of this guy like astral projected into my kitchen was like trying to do some fear-mongering campaign. Do you remember that? Because you had a clairaudient thing where you were hearing rain and it wasn't raining in San Francisco.
Yeah. That's the time I thought you were talking about, because I didn't actually see anything. I only heard voices.
But you heard things, and I was watching this guy walking around, and I could tell he was veiling his face, but I could see his build, and I knew him, and I thought he was just a piece of shit. Couldn't figure out exactly who it was. I just knew it was somebody I really didn't like.
We have definitely had some weird fucking shit.
Yeah.
Golden Gate Park escapades.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, even the last time I was there when I was saying goodbye, I had some weirdness, but at least it wasn't like scary weird.
Yeah.
Good thing with the coyotes.
That was kind of cool. The last time you and I did, well, the last two workings that we did in Golden Gate Park, one when we were in the little alcove where we always picnic.
Yeah.
And it was at night, and there was that person that kept coming by.
Mm-hmm.
But for after a fashion, he could not see us effectively, which was good. I worked really hard on that. And then as we were leaving, he was coming back again, and he could see us again. He was obviously not. I mean, he was a person, but he wasn't a person.
No. Well, and there was been several times where like we would go at a time of night when nobody would normally be there, and we both knew that. Mm-hmm. And there would be somebody just waiting right where we were going.
Mm-hmm.
And
most oftentimes people tell us to be safe and ask us, if everything turned out the way we wanted it. They definitely
they keep an eye on us.
Yes.
Like, remember that time that we were in Stern Grove and we were doing a working, and there was a guy that showed up just as the coyotes started howling. Mm-hmm. And calmed them down until we finished.
Mm-hmm. And then he gave us brought us oranges or tangerines.
Yeah, like he brought us food, like bringing us an offering. It was
He was like, "Do you want to share some of this with me?" And we were like, "Thank you."
Yeah. Which, I mean, normally you really shouldn't do that because eating fairy food is
well,
not great unless you're a fairy.
I didn't eat it.
Yeah, we didn't, but we thanked him for it. It was really kind. And I did notice that since then, when I was there last, right before I moved away, there was a fairy door that has cropped up along the path that looks so very inviting. So fuckers are up to something in there.
I don't go to Stern Grove as often.
Yeah, I was going a little bit more because it was in walking distance from my house at the time. And my partner Tom and I used to go there to do fairy summit work. When we needed to do and because my partner Tom and I were city priests, and the fairy population is one of the groups that we had to meet with on a regular basis. And so we would go to these parks and have these conversations, and to anyone walking by, it looks like we were talking to air.
Yeah.
But Tom and I are both empaths, so we could get the moods coming at us because fairies tend to communicate by emoting.
Yeah, we've done the fairy chords in that little park.
Yeah.
It's been, it definitely hasn't been all bad.
No, there's been some really fun ones. I mean, there's like a couple times where we were, like the first time we figured out we could work together, it was my 40th birthday party. And we were walking.
We were at the beach.
Yeah, we were at the beach. And this is before they were getting really strict about the fires. We were able to dig our own pit, which was awesome. Yeah. And we were walking along, and between the two of us, we were able to call the waves. And we were finding you could call it fish or all kinds of things. There was a wedding that I was the priestess for a few years ago where it was this overcast day, but I did this wedding in the Grove of Diana, and we went to Cliff House. And the weather was not conducive to it, and yet we saw so many whales and dolphins and storks and all of these relatively rare things that just all came out for the party.
Yeah. Do you remember when we were, I forget why we were burning the broomstick.
That was in a star crossing, because that was for midsummer.
And I remember you kept making it go out, but I kept making it relight. And somebody has that on video.
Huh. Oh, I think Marlo does.
Yes.
I think Marlo took the video. That was a fun night.
Yeah.
That was a really bizarre night. A lot of magic got worked that night.
Yeah, we didn't set anything else on fire, good, thankfully. But
no, and this is back when my roommate still lived downstairs, so he signed up for. I told him.
Oh yeah.
Kidding, but I did tell him what he was getting into when he moved in with me.
Yeah.
So
it's been an interesting ride.
I think that midsummer party was like the best time I had in San Francisco because it turned into a slumber party.
Yeah.
And granted, Voldemort was there and cock blocked me, and somebody actually wanted to be there, but the next day he was cooking Tom and me breakfast in bed, so it was like a wonderful poly moment on top of a really good night.
Yeah, I know, and as much as I hate to give that person their due, it wasn't all bad there either.
No, it wasn't. I mean, it's hard not to look at it now that I see everything that he was really doing, and realizing that the entire time there was a plan.
Oh, yeah.
But even with that, there were some good moments.
Yeah.
There were some good family moments. Yeah.
And sometimes with everything that we do, sometimes you just have to take those moments, even if the situation turns to shit later, you just have to live those moments and enjoy them.
You do. And I know in my case is that sometimes the villains decide they like me.
I did.
It seems to be working. Yeah, like all the guys that are the bad guys seem to be my team this round. So, you find my self-righteous ass funny, so I'll go with it.
Is there an example of a hex twisting that you can give us from the book? Based on some crazy thing that we've done?
So remember the time that we found out that somebody made a poppet of me and we were finding hooks in my aura?
Yes. Yes.
And rather than even bother to find out who done it, because I just did not have time for somebody's bullshit with everything I had going on, what I did is I did a poppet reversal spell.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if I should be talking about this, but at this point, if they try anything again, they would be so much fucked so much worse. I'm like, so if you're watching this and you're the asshole that did this, go ahead, try it.
Yeah, right? Like, we could use a laugh.
I am looking forward to what happens to you. But what happened is, so I just made a paper doll poppet and wrote "The maker becomes the maid," strapped it cartoon dynamite style to a reversal candle and lit it and stood back. And
Mm-hmm.
of course of that week, because there was some, because one of the ways you know that a reversal or spell breaker candle works is you'll see the black char at the top.
Yeah.
And it charred like halfway down before it stopped. If it chars all the way down, you need more help. So you know. But it charred about halfway down, but like Nikki was checking because she could see it, like the hooks turning into like gas almost and evaporating out of me.
Yeah.
You know.
Because once they were gone, I could pull the residual out.
Yeah.
But I couldn't pull anything out of you while the hooks were in there.
Yeah. So I mean, whoever did it, they meant it, but so you know, and here's the thing is you know, Nikki and I call each other assholes, whatever, but you know, honestly, I'm not that bad. I have strong opinions. I am way more blunt. I sometimes forget to you know, I will like talk about my business thing first and then remember to ask about how you and your kids are doing, but I genuinely do want to know how you and your kids are doing.
I think we both do that, though.
Yeah, well, because I've been in survival mode so long, I've almost forgotten how to have polite niceties.
Yeah, and really, when push comes to shove, though, we both are right there.
Yeah, very much so. And, you know, for someone to do this to me on this scale, I haven't stolen anybody's bank accounts. If I stole your husband, I gave him back because I'm sorry, you. You know, I may have even offered a few outs for you.
All right.
You know, or asked you if you wanted a better one because I can help with that. You know, like honestly, I've never knowingly committed. I've never knowingly assisted anyone in adultery, and the one time that I did, I was lied to.
I'm not commenting on that.
I haven't stolen stuff from people. I may occasionally rearrange your lawn furniture because I think it's funny, but I'm not. I'm a prankster, but I'm not the kind of toxic that has merited the shit that has come at me.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're a dick, but you're a good person. As
Yeah.
relative as that term is.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the level of shit to come at me that has, I mean, you would think that, you know, I'd be sitting on a pot of gold, and I'm not. So
at the end of that rainbow.
Understand the insanity, except for I exist in this. I exist without apologizing for my existence, and people are taking this very personally.
Yeah, and I think that that's part of what it is. We don't follow the status quo, and I don't know if people are threatened by that. I don't see why they would, because there's enough room at the table for everybody.
And I mean, I literally went about making a new table for everyone. That's how you and I met.
Yeah.
You know, because, okay, I'm not going to fit here. I think part of it is that I am a fat woman who does not live in a state of apology. And I think that that actually does threaten a lot of cultural structures. That's not all of it at all. And especially the way my body type has become fetishized since I turned 20.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just like a cultural shift. But it's the lack of apology. It's the lack of trying to please.
Yeah.
And
I think that overall that is just, you know, something that people got really complacent with the way things were.
yeah. And then I make people think, and that's dangerous.
And anytime you make waves for something, you're going to get backlash for it. Admittedly, your backlash has been beyond the pale.
Yeah.
Like, there's just some shit in there that I don't know what you would have to do for me to do that to someone,
I have actually tried to make people's heads explode always after they started it. I'm never one to throw the first punch. And it still was not at this volume.
Yeah, for the record, I always advise people to do that. That's always my advice. Let's just blow
You
them
were
up.
so proud of me when I finally did, too.
I do. I enjoy the shit out of that.
When I finally said, that's it, I'm cursing all of you assholes, and did.
I thought I was going to dance a jig.
You really were. Jason was so proud of me that day.
Here's the thing about me. I'm nice to pretty much everybody. Like, if I like you, you know. If I don't like you, I'll still be polite, but you will know. And I don't. I try to treat people with respect and civility at the very least. But if you fuck with me, I'm gonna fuck with you harder.
And I've watched this.
Yeah. Because and I'm the person that very much will tell you, unless I have a very good reason not to, I will tell you exactly what I think. I'm situational appropriate, but I don't really have a high threshold for bullshit. And I don't care enough to lie.
I don't lie because I can't remember stuff, so lying seems stupid because you have to remember stuff.
And you're good at it.
I suck at it. I don't even bother. It's
angel thing.
This is the angel thing. I just can't fucking lie.
Yeah.
Too much angel and too much fairy.
Yeah, but see, the fairy should make you better at it because we don't lie, but we'll stretch the truth so thin. Woo.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of fairy either. Apparently.
Yeah.
Mostly, I just crawl into the table and ties people's shoelaces to each other's. I actually did it once.
Of course you did. Of course you did. So I'm just plugging out there. If anybody has any questions, I'm wondering if that one person that I see is me because I'm watching on my phone to see if there were any comments that popped up that are StreamYard.
Yeah, it has been awfully quiet tonight.
Tonight has been exceptionally quiet. I have us on 3 platforms, so we may get questions later.
Yeah.
And if you do send us questions, I apologize if I don't get back to them right away.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing much tonight, but we've been having a good time. So
yeah, we've been having fun. I am going to create a new banner. Oh no, we do have it on there, the website. Yay! I don't have to do the thing. So if you later watch this video, please go on the website, check it out, give us some feedback. If you want to subscribe. I am also always looking for product testers. So if you would like to test a product, shoot us a message through the Facebook page, or you can email me directly, Nikki at goldenapplemetaphysical.com. Yeah.
So in the meantime, also for those that are interested, I am teaching 3 more workshops at Wicked Grounds this year that I know of. I don't know if we have anything for December yet. So I'm teaching one this coming Monday on ancestor veneration. We do have the events listing on the events page of Golden Apple on Facebook if you want to look there.
Okay.
I'm teaching one on cemetery and grave magic on October 29th. And then there's one on shadow work. So the foundations of shadow work on, I want to say November 19th. Yeah, I may be obsessed with time travel, but I can't actually move backwards. So sorry.
Yeah, we only want to go forward now anyway, about 4 months.
Yeah, the problem is that some idiot on December 31st is going to say, well, how much worse could 2021 be?
Oh, God.
And the thing we will hear in that space of a second between years is, hold my beer.
Right? Oh, a friend of mine had posted something like that, and I was like, you know what? Every time somebody posts that, something happens, and the next day the sky was orange.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But definitely send me the links for all those workshops, and I'll also put them on the events and workshop page on
Yeah.
the website.
Yes.
I don't know. Is there any? I'm really trying to keep us to that hour and a half because I know that you have to get up early tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. I need my beauty sleep. So I want to finish that damn book. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm gone. No more.
It's close. It's close.
So close.
And then you'll have like a millisecond before you're writing the next book.
Well, I'm going to take a month off, and I am right now. The plan is to work with Jamie Elford of Tarot Inspired Life.
Yay!
Do a book on urban divination.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so excited about working with her. She is so much fun to work with. She runs, I can't remember the name of her podcast. I feel awful because it's such a good podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Her podcast on tarot with a woman named Rose who lives out in East Bay.
Okay.
And
We
it's
should try
just,
to get Jamie on here one of these days.
I really want to. She is just fantastic. I'm sure she'd be willing to. I know she's mostly been staying home and working on tarot projects. So
I'd love to get her on here. I'd love to get Amanda on here. You know,
let's do the rounds.
that'll be fun. We do have some projects that we're not going to talk about right now, but we have some future projects that we are just kind of fleshing out now. Let's see. Do we have anything? We have some stuff coming out on the shop, but really, we're mainly focusing still on products and services right now. And
Yeah.
in the workshop.
I'm on the services side. I am looking for a few more people to add to the listings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to make sure it's a broad variety. So there'll be people that I used to work with at the old shop. And, my partner is also going to be involved in the services side, and some other people I know that may not do traditional divination, but definitely they've either worked with me and have helped me in some way, or they work with something that is outside of my cultural milieu. So we can make sure that we have the broadest range of services available for people.
And I will probably avail myself to some of that because, as we're still delving into the what the hell am I?
Yeah, the what the hell am I? And I will tell you, based on my experiences, that coming to me for a divination where your question is, what the fuck, is totally acceptable.
Yeah. However, I will put a disclaimer out there. If you come to Diana for divination, you will get homework.
Yeah, I give homework.
Yeah. A
lot of it. And I actually will literally write down an entire list.
She will, because I've got the list.
You hate lists, but you have done the homework.
I have done the homework, and it's really been beneficial.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm one of those people that does the homework for two reasons. One is I'm actually trying to work myself out of a job with every client I have. So except in specific situations where I'm like, okay, we're going to have to do multiple things here. That can be in energy training, in past life work, unless they've got like something really large. I try to get people with just day to day. How are my relationships? How is my money? Where's my energy at? That stuff, to only see me once every 6 months.
Yeah. And for us, it's about helping people. Like, we want their problems that they're coming to us for to have a resolution.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We're not going to be like, oh, I see a dark cloud. Let me sell you this $50 candle.
Yeah, I saw that one happen. That was basically a chime candle.
Yeah. Well, I had it years ago, and it's a very sad situation for me because it does put a very negative light for those people that are genuine psychics, genuine readers. I had a girl that worked for me years ago when I worked in retail, and she came in and she was like, and I was like, what's going on? She's like, well, there's this lady walking around the mall, and she says she's giving readings, and she offered me a reading, and it was really cheap, but I only had like $5 for my lunch. And she was like, oh, well, that'll be great. I'll take that. And then, she gave her all this BS about, oh, there's a dark cloud around you, and if you come back and see me, I can make you a candle. And I told my associate, I was like, honey, there's no black cloud around you. If there was, I would make you a candle. I wouldn't charge you for it. I would just make you a candle. At the very least, I'll let you buy the ingredients for it. You know, if I don't have them. You know, if I have to get anything special, I'll let you know. But for you know, like I'll just make it for you. You know?
Okay, so we are running a business now, so we do actually have to charge now, but we're
I
not going
know.
to charge you $200 and hand you a freaking chime candle.
Which is why I make products
Yes.
now.
And it may be a thing where we talk you through, like if you come to me for a service and I say, okay, a candle will be one of many options I name for you.
Yeah.
You know, or it may be if you're able to do it in person, you might need to go to Nikki for an egg cleansing, or if you're in Michigan, you might have to come to me for an egg cleansing. Or it might be something where, okay, I will talk you through how to dress the candle and then I charge you for the time for instructing you.
I think for people that are not usual practitioners, the people that are not walking the path, that come to shops for things like pouches and candles and spell kits. Like for the spell kits that we make at the shop, there is other work besides the spell. Like if you have a spell for prosperity or for money, like you know, the work that I'm going to give you is going to be like once you're done with the spell, dust off your resume and update it. You know, talk to your boss about that raise that you deserve, or you know, look for a new job. There are specific actions that you have to do to get the energy, to keep it flowing in the right direction, because there's only so much that the magic can do.
Yeah, the magic opens the door, the magic starts a flow,
Yeah.
but you still have to direct what that flow goes to.
Even in Charmed, they couldn't win the lottery.
Yeah, the whole no personal gain thing makes no sense to me. But the lotto thing, there's a lot of valid metaphysical reasons that you can't really use magic to win the lotto.
Yeah.
Shit ton of work.
Yeah. The other thing I will point out is that we absolutely will not do a spell for you to make X person fall in love with you. We will not do that.
Otherwise, I'd be off with Daniel Craig years ago.
Oh, Tom Hiddleston, baby. All
All
mine.
yours. Although I would totally hang out with him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He makes me want to have more children, or at least practice.
I'm kind of glad I overshot that.
Yeah. All right. On that note, let's wrap it up because we are at 1 hour and 32 minutes. So you see, I've been very good on time today.
Thank you.
We did not tangent as much as we normally do, but
a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I want to thank everybody that is watching us tonight. Please take a look at our YouTube, take a look at our Facebook, follow us, come to the shop, see what we have to offer. You know, look at the services there and on at the workshops, because there may be something that you didn't know that you were interested in.
yeah, and again, if you have a weird problem, we are the people to talk to.
Yeah, weird does not scare us.
No, excite us a little too much, but you know that's why at least I'm seeing a therapist.
Right now, my cat's also telling me that he is hungry, so I have to go feed the cat.
Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night. Wait, we're almost off.